Chuck N. Baker in the Veterans Reporter News. Something a little different this morning. We're doing our announcing outside in beautiful day in Las Vegas. We're doing a little maintenance work in our studio, so we thought we'd come outside and do this segment for you. And we've got some really interesting segments for you today, like we always do. But I have to tell you, we are going to be starting out with a little vignette we filmed over at the Elks Lodge in Las Vegas on West Charleston. They put up a fantastic monument to the men and women of our armed forces. They had quite a few speakers that day, and we kind of decided to zero in on one of the speakers, the Mayor Pro Tem of Las Vegas, Stavros Anthony. He had some really compelling words to say, and we're going to bring you his segment. And then a little bit later on, we're going to take you over to the USO over at McCarran Airport. And we've got speaking of McCarran Airport, the timing's perfect because here comes a plane that just took off from McCarran. But over at the USO, the director over there, Douglas Bradford, Doug is going to be talking about some donations that were made of materials and goods and products that are going to be sent to our troops. Those donations were made by members of Federal Express or FedEx Ground. So we're going to bring you that one. Then we're going to bring you kind of a long segment from the National Guard and the Reserve. Now, you know, one of the differences of this show, that a lot of the new shows, is that when it comes to military and veterans issues, we're not afraid to bring you long segments. We don't just give you little bitty sound bites. Now, this segment about the Guard and Reserve, it talks about the fact that when men and women go off and serve in the Guard and Reserve, when they come back, if they had a civilian job before they left, they've got to have that job back. That's what the law says, and most companies do comply with that law, and this kind of explains what that's all about. Like we say, it takes a few minutes, but it's very informative. And finally, we end up with our friends over at the Boulder Palms Apartments in Las Vegas. They have a couple special things going on for veterans. We think it's really important because a lot of veterans coming back from service, or even if they're not coming back, they're in an apartment or a place that maybe is a little expensive. Boulder Palms has some special things going on where a lot of veterans can save money. So one by one, we'll bring you these segments today, and let's start out with the Elks.
It's Mayor Pro Tem Stavros Anthony. Good morning, and I'm absolutely honored to be here this morning. As you can tell by my first name, I'm Greek, and in the Greek Orthodox community, when one of our members passes away, we have a memorial where we chant one particular phrase over and over again, and that phrase is, "May their memory be eternal." And we say that a lot. May their memory be eternal. And that's really why we're here today. And that's why I want to congratulate the Elks Lodge for what they've done today, because we're here to remember those men and women who died protecting this country. We're here to remember those men and women who died protecting our freedoms and our liberties. We're here to remember those men and women that protected freedom from all over the world. And we're particularly here today to remember those men and women who died protecting us from terrorism since September 11th. And just as important, we're here today to remember those family members that gave up one of their own, that made the ultimate sacrifice to protect this country. And that's really what this is all about. And on behalf of a very grateful city of Las Vegas, I just want to thank the Elks Lodge in Las Vegas for putting up this memorial that is going to do that, to make their memories eternal, so we can continue to remember those individuals that have died protecting this country. So on behalf of the city of Las Vegas, on behalf of Mayor Carolyn Goodman, myself, and the entire city, our residents, I would like to present a certificate of recognition. And Glenn, why don't you come up here too, because you've been a big part of this also. Glenn Bailey and Pete, I would like to present you. Come on, Glenn. When we had a lot of money at the city, we used to put these in really nice frames, but all we have are these little cardboard things here. But On behalf of the City of Las Vegas, Glenn, Pete, I'd like to present you with the Certificate of Appreciation. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem, this machine is 47 years old. I ordered it when I was in Vietnam on my first trip, and I've had it since then, and I got 2 boxes of reel-to-reel music. I'll have you up and enjoy one of these days.
Hi, it's Chuck Ann Baker again with the Veterans Reporter News. We're going to take you over to McCarran Airport to the USO, where the FedEx ground people made a major donation to the USO products that the USO is going to send out to our troops who are serving both domestically and overseas.
I'd like to welcome you to our center and for an important presentation to us from the community. USO Las Vegas was built in November 2010, and since then we've had 55,000 military travelers come through the center. To put that in a little bit of perspective, our analyst back in Arlington said we wouldn't get 55,000 people until we were 3 years old, and we've done that in about a year and a half. So that shows you the significance of needing the USO here in the Las Vegas community. And what makes the USO are the participants that come to the community and help us out. One of them today is FedEx Ground and FedEx Express. Over the last couple of weeks, the company has been collecting some goods, some little things that you see behind me that the troops use here at the USO, as well as some of the things that we can provide to them while they do their traveling and training missions here in the Las Vegas Valley or in Southern California. So it's with great pride that I accept all these wonderful boxes back here. The only problem is now we have to put all this stuff away. But that's a good thing. We would love to have that all the time. There are some important people who are with FedEx that I'd like to recognize today. Mike Vickers is the Managing Director, District Director of FedEx Ground. He's back at the back so he can raise his hand. Ken Barnes, Senior Manager of FedEx Ground of Las Vegas. Shay Embleton is not here yet, but he will be here soon. He's also a Senior Manager, but he's with FedEx Express. Russell Coward is the Sort Manager for FedEx Ground Las Vegas. And Pat Richards is the Senior Manager from North Phoenix, FedEx Ground. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here, and for all of you that are here. We'll see in a little bit, a gentleman will come up in a red shirt, and that's for FedEx Fridays, FedEx Red Fridays. I understand that all the employees at FedEx wear those shirts on Friday simply because it's a designation in support of the military. Also like to introduce Senior Master Sergeant William Ray, who is also the first sergeant of the 50th APS over March Air Force Base. The gentleman that I'm going to be introducing here shortly works for the Senior Master Sergeant, the first sergeant. But I also have the commanding officer of the 50th Aerial Port Squadron out of March Air Force Base, and that's Lieutenant Colonel Mark Saragosa. Mark is going to say a few words about the USO and about the support that we get from the community. Mark?
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank everybody for the invitation as well. The USO is a huge part of what the military has to see and offer, and basically as we transit a lot of different parts of the world, it's one of those few little bumps that we get to visit, check out, and really just kind of take a rest at before we move on to other parts of either Asia, Europe, or just right here in the United States. So I do want to thank you guys for allowing me to come out. Especially with a large population at Creech Air Force Base, Nellis Air Force Base. You guys are supporting a large amount of military members and their families as they travel through. So Doug, thanks so much for having me come out here. Yeah, it's a complete honor to say a few words.
Thanks.
Thanks, Doug.
This is part of something called FedEx Cares Week. We're the last company that, or last organization that has been supported by FedEx Ground. But what you see behind me was collected in the last couple of weeks. And the individual who is responsible for that not only works at FedEx, but he's also in the Air Guard. And that is Tech Sergeant Jimmy Depew. So I'd like to welcome Jimmy up.
All right, so Tech Sergeant James Depew, the Air Force Reserve, 50th Airport Squadron out in March Air Reserve Base in California. I also have John Mosley here with me from the SGR, and I'd like to recognize my boss and co-workers with some Patriot Awards. I couldn't have done all this, we couldn't have done all this without their direct support. And some package handlers here, some other managers. I'd like to thank all of you for coming, our managing director. Really appreciate you guys helping support this. It's really important to me. I'm glad it made it important to you. We wear the red on Fridays because we support the active duty military, reserve guard, veterans, those that have passed, who gave the ultimate sacrifice. We wear red on Fridays to remember them. And I'd like to bring John Mosley forward to help me with the ESGR Patriot Award recognition.
I'd like to have Mr. Ken Barnes come up and Russell Coward. My name's John Mosley. I'm a retired Command Sergeant Major at Nevada Army Guard, and I'm a volunteer with the ESGR, the Employer Support for the Guard and Reserve. And we're here today to present 2 Patriot Awards from the Department of Defense, Leon Panetta's office, and they read for contributing to national security and protecting liberty, freedom, and supporting employer participation in America's National Guard and Reserve. And I'd like to give you this. You can pass that on.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Chuck Ann Baker again, Veterans Reporter News. We're going to take you to a video that was prepared by the Guard and Reserve about getting people to rehire veterans when they go off to the Guard and Reserve and serve on active duty. If they had a civilian job when they left, those companies are obligated to rehire those people. So this is kind of a long segment, but it's very interesting. Let's go to the Guard and Reserve.
So what's up, man?
Not much, man. Just another day at work, you know?
Yeah, heck of this work, man. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Man, you saw that game last night?
Yeah, it was tight, man.
No, that was tight, man. That 3-point at the end of the game.
I'm telling you.
Hey, Rod. Looks like Dan's got that night next month.
Starting when? The 8th?
Uh-huh.
You know, I got drilled that weekend. How am I supposed to get back here and work the bullshit?
Man, look, I done been there and done that. But ever since Fred's retired, man, I have enough seniority where I only have to work days again.
Look, man, we've all done it. Now it's your turn.
Hey, you guys got something better to do than just stand around?
Hey, boss. We just here looking at the new shift schedule.
Dan, you got a minute?
What about?
It's about the schedule.
It is what it is. Get back to work.
It should only take a minute.
Come on in the office. Okay, what is it?
Dan, you put me on night shift starting at 8th. That's gonna be a problem for me.
Look, Ron, you don't have the seniority some of the other guys got. It's not that bad. You'll get used to it.
No, I understand that, and I'm happy to work nights. No problem, you know, but do I have to start the shift on the 8th?
New shift assignments start every 3 months. If you don't like nights, you can bid days next time.
But I got drilled that weekend, remember? I don't get out till 9 or 10 at night.
Your shift doesn't start till midnight.
Yeah, but it's not like I've been resting up over the weekend. I mean, we do PT at 5:30 in the morning.
I don't know what to tell you. It's not my problem. Maybe the Army can let you off early. You know, I got some calls to make. Get out of here.
That just doesn't seem right.
Look, you need to be here to start your shift at midnight on the 8th. If you're not here, I'm going to write you up. We need people we can count on to be here on time and to work hard. Now, get out here and let me make my phone calls.
HR, this is Margaret.
Hey, Margaret, it's Dan. You called?
Yes, Dan. I just wanted to make sure Bill got back to work and that you got his doctor's note.
Oh, yeah. His doc didn't give any work restrictions. We were lucky, really. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, you said it. Well, what got into Bill anyway?
He just wasn't paying attention. They told me he hadn't had much sleep before his shift started, and he was just really tired. He's back. No problems today. But thanks for asking, and thanks for all the help. It helped me fill out the injury report.
No problem.
I want to talk to you about Ron Blake. He's in the National Guard, and he was in my office a while ago asking about his shift. I think he wants me to change his shift because of his guard duty. I don't think we need to do that, but I'd like to talk to you about it.
Well, come on up.
Okay.
So Ron needs time off for guard duty or something like that?
No, he has weekend drill again in a couple of weeks. But it doesn't really conflict with his shift or anything.
Then what's the problem?
Well, when we were talking about Bill and how he got hurt sleepwalking on the job, it got me to thinking about Ron.
I'm not following.
Now, I just posted the new shift assignments, and I had to move him to night starting on the 8th. Thing is, he has guard duty that weekend, and he probably won't get home until 10 o'clock Sunday night, and it'll only be a couple hours till his shift starts. I guess he's not going to be the first guy to report sleepy for the night shift.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. At the last HR conference I went to a session on military leave. I have some handouts here in the office, and I'll give you one before you leave.
Okay, but I'm not telling Blake that he can't go to drill or anything. I know we have to give him time off for military duty, and then we have to put him back to work when he comes back.
Yeah, that's the basics, but there's more. There are new Department of Labor regulations that we need to think about. The law says that Ron has to come back to work after his drill weekend, after getting 8 hours of rest at home. If it takes him until 10 o'clock at night to get home, then we can't ask him to come in until 8 hours later. Or in Ron's case, until midnight on the 9th.
Then you think I need to tell him to find someone to switch shifts with him that day?
No, he'll only have to give us notice if he has to do military service. But if the military makes it unreasonable for him to do that, then we can't expect Ron to rearrange his schedule or find a replacement. Bottom line, we have to cover his shift.
Well, if I have to get one of the other guys to pick up the shift on the 8th, I'm going to have to pay him overtime.
Yeah, I realize that, but the law is the law. Besides, do we really want Ron working on zero sleep? I mean, we may have to cover his shift for more than just a day if he's injured. Workman's comp, hospital stays.
All right, I got it. I figured that was the right answer. I just wanted to check. If we let everybody off that has a busy weekend, we'd never have anybody here.
I know what you mean, but not everybody's serving their country. And it may cause some more work for you, but it's the right thing to do.
The National Committee for Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve is pleased to have Brigadier General Peter Dawkins, United States Army, retired, current Vice Chairman of Global Wealth Management at Citigroup, introduce this timely and important training video. President of his West Point class of 1959, General Dawkins was an All-American halfback, the winner of the 1958 Heisman Trophy, and a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford. Since leaving the military, General Dawkins has had a distinguished business career. He has received numerous civilian awards for public service, was recognized by Time magazine as one of the top 50 leaders in the United States, and recently received the Distinguished American Award by the Horatio Alger Association.
I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to talk with you briefly about one of our nation's greatest assets, the men and women in uniform of the National Guard and Reserve. As an employer, you're also a vital part of our national security, because many of these people in uniform work directly for your organizations, and today nearly half of them are in the National Guard and Reserve. You know, hiring members of the National Guard and Reserve makes good business sense. Guardsmen and reservists make great employees for many reasons, among them because they're self-disciplined, physically fit, and drug-free. Through their military training and experience, they develop technical, organizational, and leadership skills that translate directly into their civilian jobs. In many cases, reducing your training burden, which, as you well know, is often time-consuming and expensive. The truth is, many organizations faced with budget constraints are forced to cut back on their training budgets. Well, here's some good news in that regard. The technical training that members of the National Guard and Reserve receive in the course of their military service frequently enhances the skills and knowledge needed in their civilian jobs.
Well, we're going to end our show today with our friends over at Boulder Palms, and also we want to thank KLAV Radio for letting us use their studio for this next segment. We did an interview with some people from Boulder Palms. They've got some specials going on if you're a veteran and looking for a reasonable rent and some great amenities. Boulder Palms can help you out, so let's check it out. I'm going to let you introduce yourselves because I know your first names, but I'm not sure of your last name. So you are?
I'm Bill. Last name is Durkee.
And?
Dor Benegas.
And you both work out at Boulder Palms.
That's correct.
And so Boulder Palms, it's a
senior community.
Senior community.
Mm-hmm.
And where's that located?
4350 Boulder Highway.
And how long has that been there?
It was built in '97.
And it's always been Boulder Palms.
It had a previous name, and I'm not confident that I know the name of it.
Okay, that's all right. We just want to know what it's called today here. So you got some special deals going on for veterans?
Absolutely. For veterans, we're actually starting today a $100 a month discount. If they mention that they heard this on the radio, they can get an apartment for as little as $645 per month.
And that includes?
All the utilities: water, sewer, trash, gas, cable, electric, local phone service. We have Wi-Fi for internet. So it's a pretty good deal.
And you have a swimming pool there?
Yes, we do, and a hot tub.
And a hot tub. Is the, have you been in the pool? Dora, have you been in the pool?
No, I haven't.
Oh, Bill,
we also have an activity center, too, as well.
What kind of activities?
We have bingo again. That happens 2 times a week, and that's actually happening this evening, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, so have you been in the pool?
No, I haven't been in the pool.
Okay.
No.
Well,
I haven't been in any pool this summer yet.
Yeah,
so.
well, that's how it is when when you live in Las Vegas, you don't go see the sights. Only the tourists come and see the sights. When you work at Boulder Palms, you don't have time for
swimming,
all that kind of stuff. Exactly right. So before we go on with Boulder Palms, Bill, how did you get into the apartment management business?
I actually started a little over a year ago once I moved here to Vegas, and was looking for a little career change, and stumbled into working with a company actually just right around the corner from here. And they also were managing partners with Boulder Palms, and so I ended up transferring to Boulder Palms, and then I'm still there today.
And where did you move from in Nevada?
I moved from North Carolina to Nevada.
And what kind of, can I ask, what kind of career were you into there?
I was actually into IT for many years.
Which is, for the people who don't know, IT is information technology.
And I was a programmer. Yeah.
Very good.
A little boring for me.
Okay. And Dora, how did you get into management?
Oh, I've been in it for 15 years, and I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I started there 15 years ago. I was a manager for an apartment complex, 250 units. I started there.
I see.
And it kind of fell into my lap, and here I am now. I moved about almost 2 years ago.
And why did you move to Las Vegas?
Family.
Okay.
Family. Mom and Dad are closer.
I see. Very good. So, there's so many apartment places around southern Nevada, and I know you have certain benefits. For example, you've got a saying that says, "One check pays it all." Is that something that not every unit does?
That's correct. Usually when you rent an apartment, electricity, gas, cable, they're all separate bills for you. And for us, it's all going to be in one bill, so you don't need to have any extra bills.
Write one check, and that's the whole
one
thing
check,
there.
it's going to pay everything.
So, do you have any idea, percentage-wise, how many veterans do you have in your complex?
Oh, that's a good question. The actual percentage, I'm not sure. The Veterans Reporter has brought us a lot of veterans.
Veterans Reporter newspaper, great.
It really did, yeah. And we've been a hit.
Good.
We work with the HUD-VASH program as well.
Don't you explain that for our listeners a little bit?
The HUD-VASH program is, something that's offered through housing, and it enables veterans to get into housing that they might not otherwise afford.
Okay.
And so we can work with them if they happen to have their HUD-VASH voucher.
And do you allow pets in your units?
Absolutely, we do. We do have a breed restriction, so no pit bulls.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Doberman Pinschers, Chow Chows, and wolf breeds. Those would be not acceptable.
I see, and no puppies or kittens.
Yes, we like to have your dog already trained before you move into the apartment.
Okay, so they have to audition. The dogs have to audition before you let them move in, I guess. Yeah. Hello again, folks. Chuck and Baker, Veterans Reporter News. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next week. Hey everybody, when you're listening to the radio, make sure you're listening to the Veterans Reporter Radio Show every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. on KLAV. That's 1230 on the AM dial. It's the Veterans Reporter Radio Show with me, Chuck and Baker.